Welcome back to the channel. So today's job is to give this car a good service. Now, we bought it just over a year ago, haven't serviced it since then, and the service reminders just popped up on the screen. So we bought this car primarily for towing. It's a Mercedes ML450 CDI 4MATIC, which means it's got a 4-litre diesel V8 engine, puts out around 310 horsepower, just around over I think 700 newton meters of torque, so it's quite powerful and it's got good pull to it, so to speak. It's also rated for the full 3.5 ton towing capacity that, well, for myself, other people, it depends on when you've taken your license in the UK, but for me that's the maximum I can tow based on my license. So yeah, that's the primarily the reason we bought it, for towing, and also it's a good four-wheel drive. It's also very comfortable. It's 2009, so a slightly older car, but to put it into context, when this was new, this car was probably getting on for £100,000 with the options. We obviously didn't pay anywhere near this. Cars like this depreciate quite badly because, unfortunately, with a big V8 in there, they're quite expensive to run. But for towing and for occasional use, it's ideal. So yeah, let's crack on. Probably going to start with the more cleaner things first, before we get into changing oils and such like. So probably get the air filters, cabin filter, that kind of thing done first. So yeah, let's crack on. So here we go in the engine bay. As you can see, it's been quite regularly serviced and people have written all over the place. Bit messy over there, not sure what's caused that. Looks like a bird or something may have been trapped in there. So yeah, hopefully we don't find anything horrible under there. So yeah, first thing, under here, just need to take all the plastic covers off and actually get to the engine. Obviously things like the oil fillers there. I think the oil filter is down here somewhere. The air filters are in here. So yeah, need to get all that off, and I think the fuel filter's in the middle. So yeah, we'll get all this off and see where we need to start. Right, so we've got a mixture of T30 and T25 Torx screws, so we'll get all those off, get this lid off. And there's the helper. Pull those off, and there's two more sneaky ones hiding under these tubes. Comes off in two pieces. There are two more screws hiding right at the back, as always, so I need to just get those out. There we go. Oh, whoa. Well, that's not good. There's a lot of dead wasps and leaves in there, so I'll bring you in close and you can have a look at that. So yeah, original Mercedes filters, which probably made by Bosch, like most things. Oh, yeah. So yeah, not sure they've been changed that recently, because that's pretty poor. So yeah, I'm gonna go and get the vacuum and get all that cleaned out, because that's not good. So the new air filters simply just slot in, just like that, simple as that. And that's the great thing about doing something like this yourself. You'll find that things like this are so much easier than you think they might be. I mean, you take this to a main dealer, horrendous money, even a specialist would charge a fair amount. So yeah, you can easily do this yourself with a few tools. And you don't even need a workshop to do it in, but you may get a bit wet. So as part of a service, it's very important to check your brake fluid. Firstly, check the level, make sure the level's fine, although obviously on modern cars like this, there's an electronic sensor that will tell you if it's low. But we also need to check the condition of it, because brake fluid is hygroscopic. It absorbs moisture from the air and the surroundings. So if the moisture content of the fluid gets too high, the braking performance can be severely impacted, which obviously, is quite important. You want to be able to stop. So we've got this little tool just here, which is a brake fluid tester. It basically just, you pop it in the top of the brake fluid reservoir, and it tells you the moisture content and if that's okay. So obviously if the moisture content is too high, we want to be changing the fluid. So hopefully it's not too high, because obviously when you change the fluid you've got to bleed the whole system, and ideally you don't want to be doing that, but obviously if it is high we need to get that done. So yeah, let's just get the tester out and see what it is. It's a bit tricky doing this one-handed. Unfortunately I haven't got anyone to help me with the camera today. There's a little filtery thing in there, so just take that out very carefully, keep it clean. In fact, I'll just pop it onto the lid so that there's no chance of it getting any contamination. So yeah, we've just got this battery, pop it in, and we are at less than 1%, which according to this is okay. So yeah, brake fluid is all good. Okay, slight change of plan. I was going to go inside and do the cabin filter. Well, my hands are still vaguely clean, but I think I'm just going to put some gloves on, get the fuel filter done, and then I can get the cover back on the intake, because being outside and it raining, I really don't want anything to go down in there, because then, yeah, that's not good for the engine. So yeah, I think I'll do that first, and yeah, and then just put a new pair of gloves on, take gloves off, and just keep nice and clean. So Mercedes use these horrible little clips that need to, well, you can get them off with a screwdriver, but really you need a special tool, and even with that tool you need the help of a screwdriver. So they need to come off first, then we pull the fuel lines and put the new filter on. So yeah, this is the special tool. It's just basically a glorified pair of pliers. I mean, I got this off eBay for about £6. It's just Chinese. I mean, if you were doing this every day you'd want something better, but for once or twice a year this is absolutely fine. So they just go on there. I don't know whether you can see this very well, but you just squeeze it together, get a screwdriver in there, and clip comes loose. There we go. There we go, bit of diesel come out, nothing too dramatic. There we go. Now these bolts are the star head bolt that Mercedes uses on pretty much everything. If they're ones like this that aren't that hard, you can use a normal 10mm or 8mm depending on the size. It's not advisable, but it works as long as they're not ridiculously tight. If they're really tight, then you need the proper star bit, otherwise star socket, otherwise you're going to damage and strip the heads. They literally give you the bare minimum space with these kind of things. And of course this filter is totally full up with diesel, so it's going to want to go everywhere. It's out. So it's in this carrier, just need to swap that onto the new filter and then put the new one back in. We need to make sure the orientation is the same, so the inlet and outlet aren't pointing in totally different directions. So yeah, I'll get that done now and pop it back on. There we go, that's looking promising. Right, you're going down. Yeah. There we go. Right. So I've just put the outlet hose on and checked the clips are nice and tight, so that's all good. I believe it's going to prime itself, so hopefully they won't need to come off again. So I'm just going to now final hoover out of the intake there and put the cover on the air filters. I think these can go back on as well. I don't think they actually needed to come off. So I'll do that and then we'll start it up and see if it actually will start and stay running. Right, just give that a wipe off so it looks a little bit more presentable. That's better. Make that nice V8 badge shine. I mean, who doesn't love a V8? Okay, you can hear the fuel pump going, so hopefully, fingers crossed, give it a bit of time to prime. I can hear some... Oh, it is priming. I can hear air going through the system. I don't know whether you can hear that, but it just made some weird noises. So yeah, I could hear it go back into the fuel tank then. Okay, I think we're ready to go. And it works. So I believe the cabin filters, I think there's 2 of them, and I think they're up under there somewhere. So I'm just going to put the seat back as far as it will go, and then that should make it easy to actually get in there, and I have a feeling probably need to take quite a bit apart, so that's as far as it will go back. This is probably going to be very tricky to show you up under here, but I believe it's probably under here somewhere, so I feel this probably needs to come off, and maybe the glove box, I don't know. So there's actually quite a few T20 Torx screws under there, so I'm just going to take those off now. Probably won't be able to see much of this because it's really cramped and tight. Just get all these screws out, which don't look like they've been out for a while. So this is probably quite a dirty, horrible filter that's in here. Yeah, I'm not sure this is where we need to be. I'll have to have a Google and find out. The filters are actually behind this cover here, so I've just undone these 2 clips at the back. They just pop off, and then that comes out. And we can see them up in there, so yeah, that's a bit of an awkward spot to get to. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to get to those. Right, well it turns out that actually you cannot get the filters in, both filters in from the other side without squishing them. So I've had to just take the glove box out, which is just a few screws to be fair, it's not too tricky. This side panel needs to come off. There's a screw in there. And then you've got another 3 screws, 1, 2, 3 up there, and then the whole thing comes out. And then there's this cover here that just clicks off, and there's the one that I managed to get in from the other side, just there. And now we can put this one in, as easy as that. Yeah, I think that's how it's supposed to be done, but yeah, not ideal. So yeah, just need to put all this back together now. There's basically, when you take it off, there's just a few screws along the top. You need to pop the side cover off here, this piece off here, and then there's a screw just in there, and then the whole lot falls down. This has got like the USB iPod connection thing, hence why it's like that. I haven't disconnected that. So there you go. If you need to change your cabin filters in I think it's a W164, so around 2009 Mercedes ML, that's where the cabin filters should be. How is it supposed to go in there? Right, let's get this glove box back in. Another set of hands would be useful. I'll just put this little screw in down by the door here first. That's the one I missed getting it off. There we go, you just have to get it lined up in the right place. And then we get all the screws back in. So yeah, it's literally 3 bolts that holds this in, and then there's 3 which we took off earlier underneath, and that's basically it. So yeah, it's quite simple really, but a lot of effort though equally just to put a couple of filters in. There we go, that goes up. Good, right, I'll just pop this bit underneath back on. Getting rather hot and humid, but I'm just going to start the car up now, let it run for a few minutes, and then we'll get on with the oil. Right, that's getting there temperature wise, so I think that should be hot enough, so I'll turn it off now and start draining the oil out. Right, so we're under the car, and as you can see there is a plastic under tray that needs to come off to get to the oil drain. Now, normally on most cars you'd need to put it up in the air on jacks or ramps or a lift or whatever, but luckily because this is a 4-wheel drive with a fairly high ground clearance, I should in theory be able to reach under there and just take this off without needing to lift it up in the air. So yeah, in theory. Just up there, I don't know whether you can see that, just there is the oil drain. So the drain plug is a 13mm standard socket, so that makes life easy. Okay, someone did that way too tight. Here we go. Oh, damn. Made a bit of a mess, but not too bad. So just let that drain out. Right, so I've got everything tidied up, got the oil in the container, put some cat litter on the stuff that's spilt, so that's all sorted out. So now I've got a slight issue. So on the drain plug, there is a copper washer that seals it. Now, usually the copper washer comes with a new oil filter, but unfortunately this time it hasn't come with one, so I haven't got one. So I'm going to just anneal it with a blowtorch, and that will soften it up again, and then I can reuse it. It's not ideal, but it should be absolutely fine. Some people just whack them straight back on without even annealing them, so that should be fine. And also, while we're just here, I'm just going to show you the oil that's going back in. So I actually had some luck and managed to get 20 litres of the proper Mercedes spec oil off eBay for a very good price. So yeah, so it's getting the good stuff this time. We're just going to heat it up until it's glowing red hot, which shouldn't take too long. And there we go, it's red hot. And just let it cool off naturally in the air, and that'll be annealed. And then that will soften it up and make it suitable to be reused. Okay, so I've got the drain plug back in with the annealed washer, so that's nice and solid. I don't know the torque spec. I've done it to around 25 Newton meters, which I think is roughly what it should be. So now I need to just take out the oil filter and change that. So the oil filter has a socket head on top, which is a 36mm socket. That will just unscrew that, and then we just take the old one out, pop the new one in, simple as that, and then retorque it to 25 Newton meters, which it actually says on the top quite helpfully. So yes, crack on with that. Bit loose. New filter going in. And we just need to change the O-rings on this piece that goes in the top. tiny one at the top. It can actually be a pain having gloves on sometimes when you do something like this, but yeah, got the O-ring off there. Right, so let's get the new ones on. Which are in this little bag that came with the new filter. Put a tiny bit of oil just to lubricate it so it doesn't get stuck. Going on, and just lubricate that nicely. That one goes over there. And in there, like that. And then the small annoying one goes back on there, which put a bit of oil on as well. Oh, I've got oily fingers, so there we go. All good, ready to go back on. Right, so I've just set the torque wrench to 25 Newton meters and we'll just tighten the filter down now. Or should I say tighten the filter housing. And there we go, that's done. So now, just need to put the oil back in, because that would be a big fail if we didn't do that. So I'm just going to use a measuring jug, because the bulk 20 litre container of oil, you can't really just tip that in. Goes up to 2 litres, so I'll put 2 litres in each time. I think this should be taking about 11 litres, so I'll put 10 in. And I think there is actually a dipstick. There is, which not many modern cars have anymore. So can check as we go and see how we're doing basically, so we don't overfill it either. So yeah, I'll just get the oil set up and then we can get on with that. Nice. Right, just protect round there. Probably should be using a funnel, but we'll see how it goes. If it starts going everywhere, I'll try and find one. And there we go. Perfecto. And plus though was the oil that came out wasn't too bad. It was clearly sort of quite black, but that's what diesels do. But yeah, I was quite pleased with how that looked. There wasn't anything sparkling or weird in there that shouldn't be in there, so looks like the engine's in good condition. Didn't smell burnt either, so yeah, just got to do that 5 more times. In. It's going to take a minute for it to all drain down anyway, so. Right, we're about halfway up there. Right, I'm just going to electronically measure it and see what the car says. Okay, so I've added another litre of oil because it was still quite low on the dipstick. I still think it will need a bit more, so let's just see what the car has to say about that on its electronic measuring. So we are level, and we wait. So we need to add 1 more litre, so I'll add 1 more litre and then we should be good. So the oil drain plug, it doesn't look like there's any leaks around there, so that's good. Okay, so that's done. Just got to put the under tray back on, which is really awkward, so I'm not gonna show you that. Need to reset the service time on the computer, and then take it out for a test drive and make sure everything's behaving itself. So the final thing to do is just to reset the service indicator, or the how many days to service thing. I know on some Mercedes you can do it on the car itself with a combination of button presses on the steering wheel, but I'm just going to use this because it's a bit easier. So I assume we go on oil reset, European, Mercedes. Sorry, it's a bit hard doing this one-handed holding the camera. And hopefully it will find it. We're right-hand steering because we're in the UK. And we wait. Okay, I guess we want the service reset. So yeah, this isn't the most sophisticated tool out there, but it does most basic stuff. Confirm overall maintenance. Oil quality sheets. Okay, so that's like the Mercedes specification sheets. And that's the oil we used, I think. The entire maintenance service was confirmed. Yep, we've done everything that we need to do. Actually more, I think. I don't know whether that worked, but I guess that's probably it. Let's just go on to it on here. Ah, yep, servicing 15,000, very specific, 15,533 miles. So, yeah, that's all good. That's all ready to go. So, just need to take it for a test drive now, and then that will be the service done. Right, so there we go. Probably released a few of the horses back into the engine, especially changing the air filter. Seems to be running very nicely now, so yeah, I think all good. So thank you for watching, and yeah, I hope this has been vaguely helpful if you have a car similar to this, or just for maintenance in general on cars, because you can do it on your driveway, you don't have to have a fancy garage or anything like that. So yeah, thanks again for watching. See you next time, and if you could like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that kind of stuff, that would be really appreciated. So